What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and some pretty incredible news coming out on the current funding bill making its way through Congress and more stimulus funds on a federal level for everybody in the nation. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, yesterday, I let you guys know that they actually passed it in Congress, in the Senate, with a procedural vote, so it's not yet official, and they passed it without Senator Joe Manchin's side deal, the negotiations that he had with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in order for him to get on board to pass that reconciliation bill that I let you guys know about, which was initially the stimulus package bill, the Build Back Better bill with the stimulus provisions. They got stripped out. They passed it through as the Inflation Reduction Act, and the only way they got it through was for Senator Joe Manchin to agree, but what they didn't know is he agreed contingent upon him getting this side deal tied to the funding bill. Well, Democrats found out and they were very, very unhappy, and Republicans were unhappy as well because he passed through that bill, which was a Democratic agenda item. So now he has lost support. Yesterday, I reported to you that he agreed to pass the funding bill so that way there is not a government shutdown, and to do so without his permitting deal. Now, that is not all, you guys. We are also hearing that what is not included in this was President Joe Biden's request for additional funding, literally tens of billions of dollars, to help fight the pandemic and also fight monkeypox. Now, here's the thing. Let me know your thoughts on this. Democrats are saying we need more funding to be able to help battle this, to help get ourselves through this economically and actually fighting the pandemic itself. But Republicans are saying no. There is literally over $600 billion of funds sitting there from previous stimulus packages, as I've been reporting to you here on the channel for quite some time. And they're saying if you want to battle the pandemic, don't add more funding, don't add more debt, don't cause more inflation. Tap into the previous funds and use that however you see fit to battle the pandemic or help out the American people. Reallocate it with executive orders and send it out for stimulus checks, child tax credits. Do what you need to do, but don't add more debt to our economy. Just use what is still sitting there. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Now, I have got some video footage on this, and I've got articles to get you caught up on the latest so you can see it for yourself. This is all just coming out in the past 24 hours. And as I've been saying, this is all going to come out and it's going to ramp up, and we're going to be hearing more about this as we get closer to these midterm elections. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm actually in Las Vegas right now, going to a real estate convention. As you guys know, I'm a real estate investor, business owner, entrepreneur, and spending time with the family and making sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel. So if you guys appreciate that, don't forget, smash that like button for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you want to stay up to date, if this is by chance your first time here, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, keep you up to speed on everything going on. Any specific questions, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Don't fall for the scammers here on YouTube. There's a ton of them that take my picture. They tell you to text them at WhatsApp or something. You guys, that's not me. Want to get a hold of me directly? Instagram at SteveRam3. And also, I got a second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to help people better their finances and grow wealth. If you're interested, more updates on there about the real estate market, the economy, a recession, how to navigate these economic waters. And also, if you want access to the comprehensive list of every stimulus check in the nation on every level, states, cities, counties, I have spent the last 3 months every single day assembling all of the information, pouring tons of time, money, energy into this so that way you can have it all in one easy to access place. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in, and let's start off with some video footage and then take a look at an article with more detail that just came out.
Tonight on Capitol Hill, a procedural vote in the Senate could spare the federal government from shutting down. The vote also means billions of dollars of funding will move forward. That includes more than $12 billion in emergency aid for Ukraine, $2 billion for disaster relief, including for places like Jackson, Mississippi, and $1 billion for heating assistance to low-income families. The bill's negotiations centered on a proposal from Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. His addition would have changed the process for approving energy projects that would, among other things, benefit a natural gas pipeline project in his state. Lawmakers from both parties rejected that proposal. Also removed from the bill were President Biden's requests for emergency COVID and monkeypox funds. Those items had very little support from Republican lawmakers. But the funding bill itself did pass with more than 70 votes. NBC's Julie Sirkin has more from Washington. Hey, Julie.
Yeah, Joshua, it's good to be with you. The Senate moments ago taking their first step in advancing the continuing resolution. That's that stopgap government funding bill that needs to pass before midnight on Friday, because that's when the government runs out of money. But one major hurdle standing in their way, you talked about it at the top, is permitting reform. That last-minute curveball by Senator Joe Manchin announcing that he had asked Majority Leader Schumer to strip that proposal, his proposal, out of the continuing resolution, seemingly realizing that he didn't have enough votes to actually get it across the finish line tonight. I spoke to Senator Manchin just a few moments ago. He said this is not the end for his bill. He was having conversations on the Senate floor with Republicans, including with Leader McConnell, who some can say single-handedly led other Republicans in tanking his biggest proposal, this deal that he made with Majority Leader Schumer, back in the summer when they were negotiating the Inflation Reduction Act. So where does this go from here? Big picture, the CR, the continuing resolution, is expected to pass. It's expected to pass well before Friday's deadline. Of course, as you know well, up here, any one senator can object to a time agreement, potentially kicking it into the weekend. But with the midterm elections just a couple weeks away, that is unexpected to happen.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, let's take a look at this article that just came out that's going to give us a little bit more detail on the president's request for more funding that was not included, and we will see what happens with this. Let me know your thoughts. Should they provide more funding specifically for dealing with the pandemic, helping us economically, or should they tap into those existing funds? Take a look at this article, you guys. Biden's request for emergency pandemic monkeypox funds missing from the funding bill. Now it says, a White House request for emergency funding to support the pandemic and monkeypox response efforts. This is missing from the recent must-pass spending bill rolled out by Senate Democrats after staunch GOP opposition. The White House pushed for billions in funding to bolster the efforts as a part of the short-term funding bill Congress is aiming to pass this week to avert a government shutdown. So they wanted this included in this funding bill. But the request has drawn considerable pushback from Senate Republicans in recent weeks, who have pushed for the funding to be offset. In other words, saying it needs to be paid for. Republicans also expressed more opposition to the funding in light of Biden's recent comments declaring that the pandemic was over. And I shared that with you in a previous video as well. If that's true, I'm glad. And so why does he want literally tens of billions of dollars for this pandemic, said Senator Bill Cassidy to reporters last week, speculating that the comments certainly makes it harder for more pandemic funding to be secured. Now, earlier this month, the White House asked Congress for more than $22 billion in funding to address what is described as critical needs to fund the pandemic response efforts, including dollars to procure more vaccines, offer free community testing, bolster research, and more. Now, the White House asked for $4.5 billion in funding to fight monkeypox, including $1.6 billion to strengthen vaccine manufacturing and hundreds of millions to help support state and local efforts, as well as provide testing. But many Republicans also expressed resistance to the emergency request, instead insisting that the Biden administration turn to the resources previously allocated, aka tap into the existing sitting funds that are still just there. In my view, adding additional funding in that area would make it a very heavy lift for myself and other Republicans, said Senator Mitt Romney earlier this month. There's ample revenue that's been provided to the administration to be able to deal with the medical emergencies of this nature. Senate Minority Whip John Thune also said earlier this month that Republicans had zero interest in fulfilling that request. There's plenty of money still swirling around from previous pandemic bills. I've let you know, previous stimulus package money just sitting there. I mean, $4.5 billion for monkeypox. That's a lot of money, and not sure how they're going to spend it all, added amid GOP scrutiny over how the past pandemic stimulus funds have been dispersed. And I've let you know that there has been a ton of fraud and misuse of funds. So there you have it, you guys. Now let me know your thoughts. Should they be providing additional funding to help battle the pandemic, use it to help out with economic issues, as that's one of the #1 concerns right now of the American people? Or do you think, no, Let's tap into the existing funds. Don't send out any more spending. Inflation is really bad as it is, as we're entering into a recession, which we're hearing could spark fourth federal level stimulus checks, could be needed. That's the number one reason they're saying is if we enter into a recession. So let me know your thoughts, you guys, but that is where things currently stand. And we're hearing that this funding bill, though, it's likely going to get passed by this weekend. And we will see. I will keep you up to date every step of the way, you guys. But that is the latest. Wanted to make sure that you knew what was going on. And if you appreciate that and you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave a comment, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button. Any specific questions, hit me up on Instagram. And you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be leaving Las Vegas today. We'll be back home at Houston, Texas. And I'll keep you up to date as more information rolls out. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.